Archangel Michael is in tears, his voice trembling in the heavens as he pleads for you to hear him, his light flickering with the weight of urgency that cannot wait another moment, because for hours he has been standing beside you, shouting in the silence, reaching through the veil that separates the unseen from the seen, trying to push away the shadows that are circling you, trying to guide your steps before you wander into something that could change everything, but you keep feeling the pull of distraction, the noise of the world drowning out the cry of the one who fights for you every single day, the one who carries the sword of God and shields you from battles you never even realize are happening. Yet this time, this warning, is not something he can whisper, it is something he must cry out with tears, because the moment is closer than you think and the danger is heavier than you feel, and though he stands mighty and unshaken in his mission, his heart breaks because you are so loved and yet so unaware of what has been stirring around you, the movements in the unseen realm that have been weaving traps, whispering lies, sowing fear, and drawing you step by step into a place that God does not want you to go, a place that will cost you more than you can imagine if you do not hear and turn, because this is not just a moment, it is a crossing point, a decision point, and Michael has been sent by God himself to break through every barrier so that you might listen right now. Right here, as heaven leans in, holding its breath, knowing that what you choose next will open either the floodgates of blessing or the doorway to hardship, and he is pleading because he sees it all, he sees the plans, the schemes, the dangers you have not yet seen, and he has been given the vision of what will happen if you keep walking forward without shifting your path, and in his vision there is loss, there is sorrow. There is regret that cannot be undone unless you heed this warning, and so he stands, majestic yet weeping, because angels do not cry for themselves, they cry for the ones they are assigned to, for the souls they guard, for the children of God they are commanded to protect. And his tears are like fire, burning through the air, because his love for you is fierce and his mission is holy, and yet his greatest ache is that though he shouts, though he moves things in your path, though he stirs your spirit with strange unease and sudden thoughts, you brush them off as coincidence when in truth it is the language of heaven calling you, it is the pounding of angelic fists against the walls of your inattention. It is the desperate heartbeat of a messenger from God saying, "Listen, stop, turn, because the time is almost gone, the window is closing, and if you wait until you see it with your eyes, it will already be too late, for the danger is not coming, it is here." Hovering, circling, seeking the moment to strike, and yet God has made a way of escape, a way of victory, a way of peace, if only you would take his hand now, before the steps you take lead you to a place you were never meant to stand, and Michael knows, because he has fought these battles for centuries, because he has seen souls snatched away in the last moment simply because they ignored the warning signs, because they thought they had more time, because they thought they could handle it alone, and he does not want you to be one of them. He does not want to watch from heaven's gates as you look back wishing you had listened, and so his tears fall now like a river, his voice stronger than thunder yet aching like a friend who has seen you walk into harm's way too many times. And still, he will not give up, still, he will stand by your side even if you ignore him, still, he will fight until his final assignment is complete, because God has commanded him to love you, to protect you, to fight for you until the very end, but oh, how much easier this battle would be if you would only align your steps with God's direction, if you would only trust the still, small voice inside you that keeps saying don't go there. Don't trust that, wait a little longer, pray before you decide, because those whispers are not your imagination, they are Michael's sword clashing with the enemy's blade, they are the shields of heaven locking into place to block the path that looks so tempting yet hides a snare. And if you could see the war that is raging over your next choice, you would not delay, you would not hesitate, you would drop everything and run into the arms of the one who is calling you even now, because the enemy is not patient, he is prowling, watching for the crack in your defenses, waiting for the hour when your guard is down, and Michael knows that hour is close, too close, and that is why he has been trying to warn you for hours. That is why his presence has felt heavier today, that is why you have felt strange interruptions, sudden emotions, and unexplained resistance, because heaven is trying to reroute you before you walk into the place where the trap will spring, and God is using his mightiest warrior to reach you. Because you are that important, because your life is worth more than you realize, because your destiny is not something small that can be easily discarded, it is something the enemy fears, something heaven treasures, and that is why this moment matters more than you can comprehend. Michael is still there, closer than your own breath, his wings stretched wide around you even though you cannot see them, their light burning against the darkness that has been trying to press in, and he is speaking your name with such tenderness yet such urgency, because the hours have been slipping by and with every moment you hesitate, the shadow moves closer, and he knows you have felt it in little ways, the uneasiness in your stomach when you think about that decision, the heaviness in your spirit when you are around certain people, the sudden tiredness that hits you when you try to pray or think about God, that is not random, that is not just exhaustion or mood, that is the battle pressing against your soul, and Michael has been placing those feelings there as warnings, stirring your inner senses so you will slow down and pay attention, but the danger is that when you ignore those nudges, they grow fainter, and the voice that was once urgent begins to fade into the background noise of life. And that is what the enemy wants, to keep you too busy, too distracted, too numb to notice the red flags, so that when the moment comes, you will be unprepared. But Michael is fighting with everything in him to keep you from that moment, to delay the enemy's hand, to push back the darkness just long enough for you to wake up and realize this is the time to pray, this is the time to listen. This is the time to act, not tomorrow, not when it is convenient, but now, right now, because in the unseen realm time is running differently, the clock is striking in heaven, and there is an appointed moment coming when something will either be broken or bound, depending on the choice you make, and Michael has seen both outcomes, and that is why his tears fall. Because the path of obedience is so beautiful, so full of peace and blessing, but the path of delay is full of sorrow and loss. And he cannot bear the thought of you walking it, so he keeps trying, he keeps whispering, he keeps arranging little moments that seem strange but are actually divine setups for you to pause and notice, and maybe you have already experienced them today. Maybe someone spoke a sentence that hit you deep for no reason, maybe you dropped something and had to stop, maybe you felt the sudden urge to step outside or turn off your phone. These are not accidents, these are his ways of slowing you down, of pulling you away from the exact second and place where the enemy wants you, and while you cannot see it, in the spirit there is a map of your day, a sequence of events, and Michael has been rearranging them over and over to keep you safe. But even he knows there is a limit to how much can be moved without your cooperation, because God has given you free will, and heaven will not override your choices, but oh, how they hope you will choose the path that keeps you in the light, and God himself is watching, leaning toward you with his heart full of love and mercy, ready to flood your life with strength the moment you say yes to his prompting, the moment you stop and ask, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? Because that is all it takes. One moment of surrender, one moment of willingness to listen, and the entire battlefield shifts, the enemy loses his foothold, the angels strengthen their hold around you, and the danger that was pressing in like a wave is pushed back into the sea. And Michael is longing for that moment for you, longing to see the enemy's plans crumble beneath your obedience, longing to see the weight lift from your shoulders as heaven's protection settles fully over you. But for now, until you choose, he waits, his tears still falling, his sword still drawn, his eyes scanning the horizon of your life for any sign of movement from the shadows, because they are cunning, they are patient, they disguise themselves as opportunities, as friendships, as good intentions, but inside they carry poison, and only the discernment of God can reveal their true nature, and that is why Michael's warning is so urgent, because he knows that without that discernment, you will step toward what looks safe but is not, toward what feels right but is wrong, toward what promises joy but delivers grief, and you may not see it until you are already entangled, and that is why he is fighting for you now, not later, because later might be too late, and though he is heaven's mightiest warrior, even he cannot undo the damage of a choice made outside of God's will, he can only walk with you through the consequences. And that is why he is desperate for you to hear this before you cross the line, because you are loved beyond words, chosen beyond measure, and destined for more than the enemy wants you to have, and your life is not random, your days are not without purpose, and every hour is a thread in a tapestry God has been weaving since before you were born, and the enemy has been trying to pull those threads loose for years. And Michael has been standing in the gap, patching them back together, shielding your heart from the arrows meant to pierce it, and now he is asking you, no, begging you, to partner with heaven in this fight, to be alert, to listen, to slow down, because the battle is already at your door. And the victory is already possible, but only if you respond now. Michael's presence is so close now that if you could feel in the spirit the way heaven feels, you would sense the brush of his wings against your shoulder, the warmth of the light that flows from his armor, the vibration in the air as his sword hums with the power of God's authority, and yet his tears do not stop because his heart is locked on you, on your safety, on your destiny, and he knows that the hours he has been trying to reach you are not just random delays, they are the final hours before something shifts in your life in a way that could open doors you were never meant to walk through, and he cannot bear the thought of you stepping over that threshold unprepared. You might think the danger is some obvious threat, something that would be easy to spot, but Michael knows better. He knows the enemy prefers disguises, subtle manipulations, gentle nudges that lead you far from God one step at a time until you suddenly realize you are standing in a place of confusion, emptiness, or loss, wondering how you got there. That is why He has been trying to interrupt you in every way heaven can allow, through thoughts that won't leave, through delays that frustrate you but are actually saving you, through sudden emotions that make no sense in the moment but are designed to stir your awareness. You may have felt restless for no reason, or unsettled in a place you normally feel safe, or suddenly uninterested in something you were excited about. This is not your mind being fickle, this is heaven pressing on you, saying, "Pay attention. Look again. Pray first." Michael's voice is firm yet pleading as he speaks into your spirit even now, telling you that you cannot afford to treat this as just another ordinary day, because the spiritual atmosphere around you has been charged with both blessing and attack, and the next step you take will lean you toward one or the other. The enemy has been weaving traps in conversations, in relationships, in opportunities, even in the way you think about yourself, and he has been patient because he knows that if he can wrap his lies in enough truth, you might take them without question. Michael has seen the setup, he has seen the people involved, the timing, the way it will all seem harmless, and that is why his tears are not from fear but from a love so fierce it burns in his very being, because angels do not love casually, they love with the fullness of heaven's passion, and his love for you makes him willing to stand between you and the blow meant to destroy you, but he knows that if you walk willingly into that blow, the wound will be deep, and that is why he is using every ounce of strength to keep you from it. Right now, heaven is leaning toward you, waiting to see if you will respond, and you may feel that tug even in this moment, your heart beating a little faster, your thoughts pausing as if time itself slowed just enough for you to notice. That is God's Spirit moving in you, confirming that this is not just words, this is a message directly for you, and Michael's tears are the seal on it, proof of how much the unseen realm fights for you when you cannot fight for yourself. You are not an accident, and this warning is not for someone else, it is for you, tailored to the exact moment you are in, because God knows where you stand, what you face, and how quickly things can shift. Michael wants you to know that there is still time, barely, but there is still time to change course, to stop and pray, to ask God to expose every trap before you step into it. He wants you to cancel that meeting if you feel uneasy, to delay that agreement if peace is missing, to hold back from committing to something just because it looks appealing. The right path will be confirmed with God's peace, and if peace is absent, that is your answer. You might be tempted to push past that feeling, thinking it's just nerves or overthinking, but Michael has seen too many fall into that trap, too many who brushed off the warning signs and paid for it later. Even now, the enemy is trying to whisper into your mind that you are overreacting, that nothing is wrong, that everything will work out no matter what you choose. But Michael is cutting through those lies with a voice like a blade, telling you, stop. Listen. This is the moment to turn. He is not trying to make you live in fear, he is trying to lead you into safety, into God's perfect will, into the blessing that is waiting just beyond the danger, because yes, there is a blessing. This warning is not just about avoiding harm, it is about steering you into something better, something God has prepared for you, something so beautiful and right that the enemy is terrified of you finding it. That is why the attack has been so timed, so specific, so subtle. And that is why Michael has been in tears for hours, because he knows what's at stake if you walk into the wrong thing, and he knows the joy heaven will feel if you choose the right thing. Michael is still speaking, still pressing against the veil that separates his realm from yours, his tears falling like drops of liquid fire that burn with love and urgency, and he will not stop because he knows that in just moments, the scales could tip one way or the other, and if you do not hear him now, the next hours could unfold in ways you will wish you could undo. He has been stationed by God to guard your steps, and though he has fought many battles for you without your knowledge, keeping you from accidents, shielding you from spiritual attacks, turning away harm that never reached your eyes, this one is different, because it requires your choice, your agreement with heaven, your willingness to act. Angels can fight for you, but they cannot override your free will, and Michael is aching because he sees that the enemy's plan hinges on your next choice, and if you say yes to the wrong thing, it will open a door that will be harder to close than you realize. He wants you to know that this isn't about living in suspicion or mistrust, it's about living in discernment, in alignment with the voice of God, in the safety of obedience, all day today, and even in the hours before you read these words. Michael has been setting up delays and interruptions to slow you down, hoping you would notice. That phone call that didn't go through, the sudden traffic, the feeling that you should wait a few more minutes before leaving the house, these are not coincidences. They are heaven's tactics, rearranging your timeline to keep you from colliding with the enemy's setup. You may have felt frustration at these moments, but what you didn't see is the snare being sprung just moments ahead of you, the enemy's hand waiting to pull you in if you had arrived too soon. Michael has stood there, sword raised, cutting through what was meant for you, and yet he knows that protection only works when you stay under the covering of God's will. Step outside of it, and even the mightiest angel will have to watch as you face battles you were never meant to fight. Right now, the spiritual atmosphere around you is thick, both heaven and hell are focused on you. The enemy is hoping you'll ignore this. That you'll keep moving without pause, without prayer, without questioning what you've assumed is safe. But Michael is hoping you'll feel the weight of this moment and realize that you are not reading these words by accident. This is the culmination of hours of heaven trying to get your attention. You were meant to hear this now, not later, because later would have been too late. Michael's tears are holy tears, they are not of weakness, but of compassion so deep that it flows even in one of heaven's strongest warriors. His heart aches because he has seen the pain you've walked through before, the wounds from the times you missed the warning signs, the scars you carry from battles you didn't have to fight. And he cannot bear to watch you walk into that again when God is offering you a way out. He knows that what is ahead if you turn now is peace, restoration, even unexpected joy. But if you ignore this, he has also seen what will follow: confusion, regret, and a heaviness that could have been avoided. The choice before you might seem small. It might be something so ordinary that you don't understand how it could change anything. But Michael knows the ripple effect. He knows how one step leads to another, how one open door can invite in either blessing or destruction. And right now, you are standing in a threshold moment. The Holy Spirit is whispering, "Wait. Listen. Trust me." Michael is echoing that whisper. His voice like thunder in the unseen realm, trying to drown out the lies of the enemy that say, "It's fine, just go ahead." If you could see what Michael sees, you would drop to your knees in prayer right now, because the battlefield around you is fierce. There are forces of darkness circling, looking for a way in, and there are angels of light standing guard, holding the line. Your choice will determine which side gains ground in the next hours. This is not about fear, it is about truth. You are loved so deeply that heaven has orchestrated this very moment to save you from what's ahead. Michael's final plea right now is simple. Stop and ask God what He wants you to do before you take another step. Don't rush, don't assume, don't lean on your own reasoning. Even if everything looks good, even if everyone says it's the right move, even if it seems harmless, pause. Because what looks harmless can carry hidden thorns, and what looks delayed can be God's perfect protection. Michael is still beside you, unshaken in his stance yet heavy in spirit, his tears falling not because he doubts the victory but because he knows the weight of your decision in this exact moment, and he wants you to understand that the urgency you feel in your chest right now is not anxiety. It is the pulse of heaven pressing on your heart, the signal that what you choose today will echo into days, weeks, even years ahead. He has been assigned to guard your life for as long as God wills, and in that time, He has fought battles you never saw. Redirected harm you never knew was meant for you, and stood between you and dangers you would not have survived on your own. But there are moments when even the mightiest protector must call out for your cooperation, and this is one of those moments. Heaven can fight for you, but it cannot choose for you, and your choice is the key that will either seal the enemy out or open the door for him to step in. Heaven has been setting up signs for you all day, little interruptions, random thoughts, sudden feelings you couldn't explain. That uneasy dream you had, that moment when you thought of someone out of nowhere, that split second you almost spoke but didn't, the strange calm that came over you when you were about to act, these are not random. These are the handprints of heaven, Michael's fingerprints on the fabric of your day, gently but persistently shifting you away from the exact place and moment where the enemy's trap waits. And yet, He knows there is only so much that can be rearranged before your will must align with God's. Michael has seen the trap. He has seen the way it's been disguised to look like an opportunity, a gift, even an answer to prayer, but he knows it carries a hidden cost. He knows the smile hides a lie, the promise hides a chain, the open door hides a pit. And He is not just warning you to avoid harm, He is warning you so you will be free to walk into something far greater, something God Himself has prepared for you. A blessing so much bigger than the counterfeit the enemy is dangling in front of you. The reason he has been in tears for hours is because he knows how quickly a moment can pass, how easily someone can shrug off a feeling and keep going, only to realize later that the moment they ignored was the exact moment they could have turned everything around. He has seen people miss it. He has watched hearts break because they thought they had more time. And he doesn't want that for you. His tears are his way of pouring his urgency into your spirit, of making sure you feel the depth of his plea, even if you don't see him standing there with his blazing sword and his armor of light, right now. As you read this, heaven is fully aware of you. God is watching. The Holy Spirit is stirring your awareness. Michael is positioned like a shield in front of you. The enemy is lurking, hoping you will brush this off. This is not just another day, it is a hinge point in your life. You may never fully understand why this exact day matters so much, but heaven does, and one day you will see how this warning was not random, not vague, but laser sharp for this moment. Michael wants you to breathe, to slow down, to take this seriously. Don't let the rush of life make you step into something without God's peace confirming it.